Hello everyone, Larry with the Rustic Retreats here. I just want to tell you today that I'm so pumped. I'm so glad that you're taking the time to watch this video. God is just doing so many things in my life right now. He's really putting me in front of people. He is putting people in my path, and I am just so geeked and pumped about this. I'm so happy today. No matter what's going on, I'm still happy. And today I want to talk to you about the disciple Thomas. You know, some people would call him Doubting Thomas. And some things about him that we know he was a Jew. We don't know if he was a fisherman or not, but we know Thomas played such an important part. And he had a lot of doubts and fears and a lot of things that are going on today I'm sure he dealt with in his time. You know, at times I could be called Doubting Larry. And I guess I would have I guess a lot of you would also probably have that right now, that you have your doubts and things are going, you know, with everything that's going on. And where is God right now? Why isn't he not taking care of this? You know, what's going on? So a little bit, Thomas was inquisitive. He was courageous. He was willing to stand by Jesus even in dangerous times. And he relentlessly sought the truth. And I believe seeking the truth is what caused him to really question that Jesus was really resurrected. You know, he wanted proof. So in John 20, verse 24, it talks about Thomas and not being with the disciples when Jesus first came and appeared. Can you just imagine? The disciples would be in a locked room. They're fearful. They're fearful for their lives. They don't know if they're going to come and be arrested. And they're probably whispering and not talking loud. I'm sure they didn't have insulation like we have today. So they're, you know, being very quiet. They're talking amongst themselves. And then the Lord appears. And now it's like, wow, this is, what a God moment. Have the Lord appear. So now let's go to verse 26, and the disciples are all together in the room, and they're all talking amongst themselves, and I'm sure Thomas is the center of attention here, and everybody's trying to explain to Thomas, and Thomas is doubting it. He's not having it. He doesn't believe it. He says, you know, I just don't believe it. I don't believe Jesus came back. I just can't fathom that. That's not human. That just does not happen. And then all of a sudden, boom. It's just like that. Jesus is with them right now. And he says, peace be with you. And I think everybody there would jump back and take a step back and say, wow, what is going on? And Thomas, I'm sure, is shaking in his boots. I am sure he is so scared at this moment. He's got such a high stress level. You know, as Jesus is looking at him, and he looks him right in the eye, because that's how Jesus was. So just put yourself in Thomas's spot for a second here. Just feel the pressure that Thomas felt. Jesus is standing right in front of him, looking him right square in the eye. And Thomas sees he's not a ghost or a spirit. And he's, oh my goodness, what have I done? I've doubted Jesus. I've doubted that he came back. The other ones have told me, but I just doubted it. And then Jesus reaches out his hands, and I want to believe he was given a high five, but back then it was probably more of a low five or whatever. And Thomas could see the hole in his hand, and he could see a hole right through his hand, as well as the tendons and muscles and everything else there. And to me, that just seeing that is enough. But then he reaches in and puts his finger to his side, and just that would be an eerie feeling. Just doing that, I would be nervous and shaking. I wouldn't be knowing what God's going to do next. I know how powerful God is now. I realize that God came back from the dead, but I don't know what God is thinking and what is he going to do next. And I think I would fall on my knees on the floor. I'd be asking for forgiveness. And I would say, my Lord, my God, forgive me. Forgive me for doubting you. And Jesus simply replies, stop doubting and believe. He didn't chastise him. He didn't get mad at him. He wasn't angry with him. And I think that was a defining moment for Thomas. And that it would be a defining moment for me. Because I would realize how big God is. And then Jesus says, blessed are those that have not seen and yet believed. So right now, during these times, it's awful easy to doubt. I've been there. We're feeling lost right now. We're probably, a lot of you are in a period of silence and we're not hearing from God. And what do? Well, let me tell you this. I'm hearing from God, and I'm hearing from God in a big way. But I've gone through these seasons. I've gone through times where I didn't see the things that were going on. I didn't know what was going on. But I'm hearing from him right now, and you will be hearing from him too. See, it's God's time. It's called patience we have to have. But it's in his time that we will hear from him. But we have to be looking for that moment. We have to be looking for that movement. And we have to be actively engaged. And we've got to be learning something during this time. We're here because we need to learn something. We need to stay strong during this time. So a few things for you to do. First of all, we need to stay the course. Do the same things that you've been doing for God. Don't alter course until God tells you to alter course. Trust me, you'll know when it's time. I can give you an example where I was on a board for 8 years, and I was the finance chair and I handled the marketing for the small church. And during that time, elections were up, and my name was on the ballot, and I'm thinking, okay, this is no big deal. I'm sitting in church, and then when the results were read, my name wasn't there. What a clear indication to me that God was moving and He wanted me to do something else and go somewhere else. So while it's silent, while you're in this time, you need to be learning. You need to be going deeper into the Bible. You see, God wants us to be followers, not fans. Fans are those people that go to church, raise their hand, rah, rah, it's a good time, we're worshiping the Lord. Then they sit down, they listen to the message, and then they go home and do the exact same thing they did the week before. A follower is the exact same thing, except for he goes home or she goes home. The message changed their life. It inflicted something in them that they need to work on or change, or maybe they need to do something for a neighbor or a friend. During this time, it can be silent. You may not hear from God, but this is the time you need to take more time to pray. Pray, 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 and then pray some more. You need to spend time alone with God. Get rid of the technology. Get rid of the phones and tablets and computers and TVs, and spend 30 minutes a day minimum with God in quiet. Ask Him what you're supposed to be doing. Ask Him where you are to be. Reach out to Him. Also, reach out to others during this time. While you're waiting on God, be His hand and feet. Love on others. Work with others. Help others. Maybe that's phone calls. Maybe that's Zoom meetings. Maybe that's physically delivering food for somebody. Maybe that's helping an elderly or shut-in. Reach out and help wherever you can. God is in this pandemic. He is here. He has this under control, and He is waiting on you. And He's waiting on you to do what you need to do. And there's a lesson for all of us to learn in this. For me included, I see God actively moving right now. And I see Him moving in big ways. And I'm praying that you guys will also see Him moving in your life in big ways. I love you all. Come visit when you can. Have a safe day. Stay safe out there. Love on others. Thank you for your time.